Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right. During Monday Night Football last night with the Buffalo Bills facing the Cincinnati Bengals in what we all thought was going to turn out to be a great game between two division leaders, with the Buffalo Bills being 12-3 and the Cincinnati Bengals being 11-4. This game started out pretty good because both teams scored on their first drive of the games, with the Bengals being the first ones to score in this game. And they ended up scoring a touchdown on their very first drive. Then the next drive where the Bills had it, they were able to drive right down the field as well, but they ended up getting a field goal out of it, which then made the score 7-3. And from there, it looked to be like it was going to be a great Monday Night Football game in Cincinnati. But the very next drive, with the Bengals having the ball, they drove down the field and everything is looking smooth. And the very last play of this game was to T. Higgins catching the ball, and Damar Hamlin ended up making the tackle on T. Higgins, and he got up and he looked to be okay. And then seconds later, he dropped right to the ground, and what happened is he actually suffered a cardiac arrest. And very, very fortunately enough, the medical staff during the game were able to get to him on the field and be able to resuscitate him. And from there, with what happened, with what was going on the field, both sides of the football were supporting him and hoping and praying, and some of the Bills players were shedding tears, hoping that his teammate was okay. The medical staff were able to resuscitate him, and he is breathing right now because he was taken to the UC Medical Center, and they are saying that he is in critical condition right now. But thank God that he is breathing right now, because what happened was one of the, if not the scariest moment or scariest thing that could ever happen to an athlete, especially Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, after suffering that cardiac arrest. And because of what happened to Damar Hamlin, this completely proves that we all need to show, and we need to appreciate a lot more the game of football and the athletes that play it, because these athletes that are at the college or pro level, and they say that they will lay their life down for this game, they mean that with every inch and every bone in their body, because of how much they love this game. And what we saw was one of the most catastrophic things you could ever see in a football game. My thoughts and prayers go out to Damar Hamlin and his family, and I hope he gets home safely and healthy as soon as possible. But now let's get to the positive side of the sports world, with a couple of guys around football and basketball who made history for themselves. And the guys that made history were Mike Evans and Donovan Mitchell. First off, Mike Evans. This dude has been a beast since the beginning of his career, and he continues to be even more of a beast as his career continues on and moves down the road, because Mike Evans got his 9th consecutive 1,000-yard season, and he is one of 3 players to have 9 or more consecutive seasons of 1,000 receiving yards. The other 2 dudes that have it are Tim Brown, who had 9 consecutive seasons with the Raiders, and legendary wide receiver Jerry Rice, who had 11 consecutive seasons with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, with Mike Evans, with the way that he was playing and producing all year long, it looked to be that the way he was playing and the way that his numbers were, like he was at 917 yards before the game before the Carolina Panthers game started, and it looked to be that he was either going to be just over 1,000 yards again or just be under 1,000 receiving yards and end up ending his streak. But that did not happen because Mike Evans went off against the Carolina Panthers. And because of that game and of the dominance that he had against the Panthers, his numbers are now 77 receptions, 1,124 receiving yards, and 6 touchdowns. And the numbers that he had against the Panthers were 10 receptions, 207 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Pure dominance, but it's not surprising because it's Mike Evans. He's been one of the most dominant and easily the most consistent wide receiver that this era of football has seen. Now, along with the other milestones that Mike Evans has achieved, he became the 7th guy to ever get 9 or more 1,000 receiving yards, and also this season he is able to be another wide receiver that notched 10,000 yards, and right now he is sitting at 10,425 receiving yards on his career. Some people never realize, and some people forget how great Mike Evans is. He is one of the greatest wide receivers to ever play in this era and the game of football because of what he's done. And along with that, Mike Evans has played with the worst sports franchise in sports history. Okay, based on winning percentage, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are actually the worst right now because their winning percentage is .399, and the Bucks winning percentage is just barely ahead because they're at a .402 winning percentage. But if it wasn't for Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski coming to the Bucks, and with all the incredible signings that the Bucks made over the last few years, the Buccaneers' winning percentage would look far, far, far worse. And now, and because of that, because of all these incredible signings, they have been able to win a Super Bowl. They have been able to have consecutive winning seasons, and they have been able to be looked at as a top-end team, and that's new territory for the Bucks. But Tom Brady is the GOAT, and he will do GOAT things no matter where he goes. And with all the dominance that the Bucks are having over the last few years, the Bucks are actually kind of lucky that they are not in last place. All right, so let's get on to the second guy that made history, and this was yesterday, and it was Donovan Mitchell, and he had one of the most unbelievable games you could ever watch because he had one of the greatest scoring NBA games in NBA history because he dropped 71 points. And Donovan Mitchell, like, who knew that Donovan Mitchell was going to be the one that dropped 70 points or dropped the most points in Cleveland Cavaliers history? Because I know for a fact that everybody thought it was going to be LeBron James, but nope, it ended up being Donovan Mitchell with him dropping 71. And his stat line of what he completed with playing against the Chicago Bulls, he finished with 71 points, 11 assists, 8 rebounds on 65% shooting. Very, very efficient. And with the 71 points that Donovan Mitchell got, he became the 6th guy to ever score 70 or more points in one game. The other guys are Will Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Kobe Bryant, Devin Booker, David Thompson, and David Robinson. And actually, Donovan Mitchell became the 7th guy. 6 other guys were the ones that scored 70 or more, and Donovan Mitchell ended up scoring the 6th most points in an NBA game with the 71 points. And he, because of the 71 points, he was able to help dominate with the Cleveland Cavaliers, beating the Chicago Bulls 145-134. And he wasn't the only one that had a dominant game, because DeMar DeRozan had another dominant game himself, because he dropped 44 points, 3 assists, and 4 rebounds. And if you combine those points, that adds up to 115 points, and that is 41% of all the points that were scored in that game. Like, damn, how dominant can you be for 2 players in a single game? Now, here's the crazy thing about what we're about to see in the coming future of this generation of basketball. What's going to happen is any single player, it doesn't matter who it is, even if it's some bottom of the line bench player that ends up going off for one game and he drops 30 points will no longer be a good game. It will end up being looked at as a solid or an okay game, because nowadays we are seeing players average 30 like it's nothing, because right now we have 6 players that are averaging 30 points per game right now, and Luka Doncic is at the forefront averaging 34 points. Players are going to have to start dropping triple doubles along with having 35 or more points to be looked at as a good or even great game. 30 and under, that's no longer relevant, because we're about to see like an average of 35, 40 points as soon as the future starts coming in, and players are starting to get better at scoring and being able to get open and find their spot and get to the basket to be able to score. And because of how much scoring that is about to happen and start to get going, we are about to see single games, single series, single season, playoff series, playoff games, scoring records, all to start falling fast real soon. And right now it's only the beginning, so we got to get ready for all the insane scoring titles that we're about to see, because Luka Doncic may be the first guy to do it since Will Chamberlain to average 40 or more points a game, because out of the last 5 games that he has played, he has gotten 50 in 3 of them. 50, and he dropped one of the most historic games ever in dropping 60, 21, and 10. This generation of basketball is about to be extremely lethal. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.